There are some battles we humans never seem to win, and the fight against mosquitoes is definitely one of them. Every summer and every rainy season we stock up on mosquito spray plug in repellers and keep swatting them away. They're annoying, they don't give up, and they're behind countless sleepless nights. If modern mosquito products still can't beat mosquitoes, then what about back in our grandparents' day? Before spray cans, mosquito repellers, and pest control services came along, what did they use to fight back? Simple. They set traps, like real hunters. Those traps are easy to make, cost almost nothing, can kill thousands of mosquitoes every night, and are still safe for honeybees' pets and small children. Don't believe it? Today I'm going to show you the 5 oldest mosquito traps our grandparents used, and don't forget the strongest trap at number 3. They've all pretty much been forgotten because this industry can't make money from things that are too cheap and too simple. And once you understand them, you'll also have the mindset to make just about any new trap yourself. The classic principle behind every mosquito trap. Mosquitoes show up every year, but this year, looking at the news in Texas, I understand why people are starting to panic. When mosquitoes get so bad that the authorities have to step in, it makes sense that people rush out to buy sprays and call mosquito control services. And it's not just Texas and not just America. This has turned into a serious problem all over the world. Is it because the climate is changing, because we've messed up the ecosystem, or because mosquitoes are getting better at living around people? I don't know for sure. But I do know there's a better question to ask before all those products existed. What did our grandparents do to keep mosquitoes away? My home is in Pennsylvania, right near the woods and a creek. My grandfather was a hunter, and he was always going through woods full of ticks and mosquitoes. But I never saw him stockpile a bunch of sprays or mosquito chemicals in the shed. He liked setting traps better, simple homemade traps, but they could kill thousands of mosquitoes every night. When I was little, I just thought he was old and stuck in his old ways. But now, I understand. That was the primitive instinct of human beings. We used to live by hunting, gathering, and watching closely. If you want to catch an animal, you have to know what it wants, where it goes, where it rests, and what habits it repeats. You don't chase it all day. You set a trap where it's already going to go. Mosquitoes are the same way. And this wasn't just my grandfather guessing. Modern science makes it clear that mosquitoes have a life cycle, habits, and signals that pull them in. The early stages of mosquitoes, like eggs and larvae, are tied closely to water. So most mosquito traps have something to do with water. Pay attention and you'll see it. And the effective mosquito traps our grandparents used were all built on the same idea: lure them in, then kill them. Simple and effective, but somehow they've been forgotten. Let's start with the oldest trap on today's list. Number 1, fermented sugar trap. After hearing that story about the primitive instinct of hunters, you might be expecting some big, impressive trap. But the oldest and simplest trap our grandparents used came from something totally harmless: fallen fruit. At my grandfather's house in the summer, if apples, peaches, or pears fell under the tree and sat there for 1 or 2 days, you'd start hearing buzzing around them. As a kid, I thought it was simple: rotten stuff attracts flies. Later, I understood that my grandfather saw more than that. He saw a pattern. Anything sweet, soft, damp, and starting to ferment will bring insects in. And mosquitoes are the same way. We often think mosquitoes only live to suck blood. Not true. Mosquitoes don't live their whole lives on blood. They also need sugar for energy. Flower nectar, plant sap, ripe fruit, that fermented smell, all of it can pull them in. Once people knew that they could turn an old jar into a trap. Here's how you do it. Take a jar, a small crock, or an old can. Put in some overripe fruit, a little molasses or sugar water that has started to ferment lightly. The smell should be a little sweet, a little sour, a little strong. It doesn't need to look nice, it just needs to smell right. But this is where a lot of people get it wrong. Bait is not a trap yet. If you leave the jar wide open, mosquitoes come and feed and fly away. You didn't trap anything, you just fed them. To make it a real trap, there has to be an ending, a narrow mouth, a simple funnel or liquid that makes them fall in and have a hard time getting out. Don't forget to check it after 1 or 2 days. If there are mosquitoes, deal with them. If I see a lot of honeybees, butterflies, or helpful insects getting pulled in, I stop right away. Now you know the classic trap. If you want it to work harder, you can upgrade it into a modern version with sugar bait that has a killing ingredient like boric acid or certain plant-based ingredients. Mosquitoes eat it and die. But whether it's the classic version or the modern version, this kind of trap still only deals with the ones already flying. If you want to kill more mosquitoes, come with me and look down at the water surface where their life begins. And that's the second type of trap. Number 2, dead water surface trap. I've always thought the easiest way to kill mosquitoes is not to slap them while they're flying. The easiest way is to kill them before they ever become mosquitoes. That sounds a little cold, but it's true. When it's still a larva in the water, it doesn't have wings, it can't fly, it can't hide, and it hasn't bitten anyone yet. To me, that's when someone who knows how to set traps should make a move. So when I say these traps can wipe out thousands every night, I'm not exaggerating. If you can stop the eggs, the larvae, and the batches of mosquitoes before they get the chance to fly, you're not just killing a few. You're cutting off a whole breeding wave. The weak spot is right on the surface of the water. Mosquito larvae live in water, but they're not fish. They still need the water surface to survive. When that surface changes, the place that looked like a mosquito nursery can turn into a trap. Soap was something our grandparents used for everything. Washing hands, doing laundry, scrubbing buckets, cleaning animal pens. And then they noticed one very simple thing. Just a little soap could change the surface of the water. To us, it's still water. To mosquito larvae, it's a life or death problem. The old way is very simple. Only use it in a small container you control. A trap bucket, an old basin, a can with standing water. Add a few drops of mild soap, just enough, so the water surface is no longer as smooth as before. Don't do this in a pond, creek, bird bath, or anywhere fish, frogs, birds, or pets drink water. Back then, some people also used a thin layer of oil in a similar way. I understand the principle, but I don't pour oil into ponds, creeks, bird baths, or places where dogs and cats drink. I don't want to beat mosquitoes by dirtying the very thing I'm trying to protect. If you want that same idea but cleaner, I trust BT. I'm more the kind many people know from mosquito dunks. For water spots that won't be used for drinking and can't be dumped out, you drop in a dunk or a piece of BT, according to the label. It doesn't spray the whole yard. It doesn't chase adult mosquitoes. It blocks the life cycle right there in the water. But if the dead water surface trap is how people turn water into a dangerous place, the next trap is even more interesting. Get ready, because this may be the kind of trap an old hunter would like the most. Number 3, predator trap. Out of these 5 kinds of traps, this is my favorite, because it doesn't try to beat nature, it uses nature. A regular trap holds the prey in place. This trap does something better. It calls the right predator to the right spot. I don't hate spraying in every situation. Sometimes it's necessary. But spraying carelessly is like throwing a grenade into your own garden. Some mosquitoes may die, but dragonflies, frogs, spiders, small fish, and the creatures eating mosquitoes for you get hit too. Then next week the mosquitoes come back and you have fewer allies than before. This trap goes the opposite way. It doesn't ask, what do I spray to kill mosquitoes? It asks, what eats mosquitoes, and how do I get it to stay where mosquitoes are born? My grandfather used to do this when I was little. He'd place a few buckets of water out in the yard and put a few sticks in each bucket. Tree frogs would come, lay eggs. Tadpoles would grow in there. Then mosquitoes would fly over, thinking it was a good place to lay eggs. That big mistake killed a whole generation of mosquitoes. Mosquito eggs became food for tadpoles. In other words, the mosquitoes thought they were sending their babies to daycare. Really, they were sending them to a tadpole meal. I love this kind of trap because it has the true spirit of a hunter. You don't chase the prey. You don't make a big scene. You just put everything in the right place, then let the prey walk into somewhere It should not be. If you live near a pond, creek, field, or barn, you probably get this right away without me explaining it. Where there are small fish, tadpoles, frogs, and dragonflies, mosquito larvae have a hard time living in peace. Those creatures don't need batteries. They don't need power cords. They don't need you to give orders. They're born knowing how to do that job. But remember, only choose water spots you can control: a bucket, a large basin, a small contained pond. You can add sticks, branches, and a little shade so tree frogs have a place to cling to. If you use fish, I would not release any unfamiliar species into a natural creek or ditch. And if you've already invited fish or tadpoles to work for you, don't pour soap oil or BTI into their home. It's that simple. But not every yard has enough tree frogs, small fish, or dragonflies to make this work. So people in the old days had another trick, and this one was much sneakier. They built mosquitoes, a fake nursery. Number 4. The trap that tricks mosquitoes into laying eggs. But what if your yard does not have tree frogs, does not have small fish, and does not have enough dragonflies? People in the old days still had another way: trick mosquitoes into choosing the wrong place to lay eggs. I call it a fake nursery for mosquitoes. It looks like a safe place to lay eggs. But really, it is a trap we already prepared. A female mosquito does not just fly around and drop eggs anywhere to get it over with. She looks for signals. She likes still water, a little darkness, the smell of rotting leaves, soaked grass, old straw, the kind of place that looks dirty to us, but to mosquitoes looks like a good place to have babies. And people in the old days knew how to use that. But the deciding part is not luring the mosquito in. The deciding part is what you do after she lays eggs. If you set that bucket down and then forget about it, you are not setting a trap. You are opening a real nursery for mosquitoes. The right way is to control it. Dump it on schedule before the larvae mature. Strain out the eggs or larvae. Use mesh so the new generation cannot fly out. What I like about this trap is that instead of letting mosquitoes lay eggs all over the yard, you lure them into one place you know and can control. The modern version of this is an ovid trap or a tire trap. An old tire by itself is a disaster because it holds water very well. But if you use it on purpose and check it on schedule, it can become a trap. The problem is not the tire. The problem is whether you control it or forget about it. And the final trap may surprise you even more. Trust me, it may be the oldest method on this whole list. Number 5. Nets and screens. I know, it sounds too simple, but think like a mosquito for a few seconds. At night, what does it want? It wants to reach your skin while you are sleeping. You are lying still. You are breathing steadily. You are not waving your hands and swatting it every 5 seconds. That is when you are easiest to attack. A mosquito net does one very direct thing. It puts a barrier between the mosquito and the person sleeping. The mosquito can still find you. It just cannot touch you. To me, that is a very smart trap. No bait, no electricity, nothing sprayed into the air. Just one barrier in the right place. A lot of people today no longer have the habit of sleeping under a mosquito net. I get it. We have air conditioning, glass windows, sprays, mosquito repellers. But all it takes is one night, without power, one window left cracked open, or one cabin trip near the woods, and you remember right away why our grandparents never treated the mosquito net like a small thing. And that way of thinking is not just for the bed, it works for the whole house. Windows should have screens, doors should close tightly, rain barrels should be covered, a porch can be screened in. Dog runs and chicken coops may need protection too if mosquitoes are bothering them too much. The mindset for making your own mosquito traps. The most important part is not remembering all 5 traps I just talked about. The most important part is understanding the way of thinking behind them. Once you understand that you can make your own new trap, one that fits your yard better than anything sold in a store. Because my yard in Pennsylvania is not the same as your yard in Texas, Florida, Georgia, or a cabin by a lake. Some homes have lots of trees, some have lots of flower pots, some have dogs, chickens, rain barrels, wooden porches, or a drainage ditch behind the garden. So do not just ask, What does Billy use? Ask this instead. What are the mosquitoes in my yard doing? Are they looking for blood? Looking for water to lay eggs? Looking for a shady place to rest? Looking for a sweet smell? Or looking for a way to fly into the house when the door opens? A good trap has to be based on that behavior. You lure it with what it wants. You place the trap where it actually goes, and you need a clear ending it goes in and cannot get out. It lays eggs, and the eggs do not survive, or it gets blocked before it reaches a person. Without that ending, it is not a trap. It is just a bucket of water, a jar of sugar, or a damp corner inviting mosquitoes in. That is why fan traps, Crisco candles, or plastic bottle traps sometimes work. Not because they are magic, but because they understand one mosquito behavior correctly. But being creative does not mean being careless. Do not hurt bees, butterflies, dragonflies, frogs, fish, cats, dogs, or clean water just because you hate mosquitoes. Combining traps and spray solutions. I am not saying sprays are useless. There are times when you need to cut down mosquitoes right away. When mosquitoes are too thick, when there is a disease warning, when your family is getting bitten non-stop out on the porch, I understand why people pick up the spray bottle. But here is what I have learned after years of living near woods, near water, and taking care of my own yard. Spraying is a reaction. Trapping is a strategy. A spray asks, how do I kill the mosquitoes in front of me right now? A trap asks, why are they here? Which way are they coming in? Where are they being born? What do they want? Those are two very different ways of thinking. Spraying more does not mean better control. I do not want a yard with no mosquitoes if it also has no bees, no butterflies, no dragonflies, no frog sounds, and no living feeling of a garden. My goal is not to turn the yard into a dead zone. My goal is to make it harder for mosquitoes to win. Traps force you to look more closely. Instead of attacking the whole yard, you find the real weak point. A forgotten water spot, a path mosquitoes keep using to fly in, a damp, shady corner, a torn screen, a small habit that is inviting mosquitoes over. So the practical way is this: if you need fast control, use fast control. But the next morning, go look for the reason you needed that spray bottle the night before. People in the old days did not have more products than we do. They just had the habit of looking more closely. And that is the thing most worth learning: observe first, act after. Modern life has made us a little spoiled. When mosquitoes show up, we buy another spray, another device, another chemical, another new thing from the store. Some things are useful, I'm not denying that. But a lot of the time, we are only dealing with the surface of the problem. Worse, sometimes, we are hurting the very things that are helping us: bees, butterflies, dragonflies, frogs, fish, and the small rhythm of life in the garden. So sometimes the smartest thing is not to buy more. It is to slow down a little and look back at how our grandparents used to do things. The things modern products often call outdated sometimes carry a whole lot of understanding. Which of these 5 traps are you going to try today? Try it then, come back tomorrow, and share whether it worked. I'm Billy. I'll see you next time. This mosquito control series will be back with another even more interesting video.